the Ventrue. Snobs, elites, the top of the social pecking order. These are vampires less about ripping your face off and a whole lot more about dominating you. At least that's how the Chinese room is portraying them in Bloodlines 2. In Dev Diary number 12, they give us a bit of a glimpse into just how they treat these vamps. Making what I call a modern Ventrue for 5th edition tabletop appears to have been a pretty simple process, as they had been in the game since 1991. Like the Brujah, they are well defined and didn't need a whole lot of tweaking. Not that I would know if they did. A key distinction of these guys from Brujah, Benu Hakim, and Tremere is their lack of physical abilities. They're going to rely on presence to awe the enemy, domination to dominate the enemy, and if and when that fails, fortitude so that they can get the slap beat out of them, but still stay on their feet and finish the fight. This ought to make some interesting combat, but a tad more on that in just a minute. They also note in this modern Ventrue for tabletop that this clan, naturally, embraces folks who are already used to power and seeking power. Of course, that can also come back to bite you, because who wants to play second fiddle to anybody else? So lots of infighting, backstabbing, all of that sort of stuff. And they make a special call out that many a Ventrue prince has gotten wasted because they would rather lead in defeat than triumph as a lackey. Now, I'm no Ventrue, but I don't want to be anybody's lackey. Their exemplar Ventrue is a vampire known as Fletcher. The supplied image has this guy looking a lot like Liam O'Brien, dressed as Matt Smith's doctor. Fletcher is an upper crust, erudite sociopath. That ought to make for fun conversation, though they seem to think it will. As part of the Fletcher flesh out, they tell us that Ventrue have this knowledge of history, a deep and long-running knowledge of the city, Seattle in this case. What this means for fire, yeah, God, I hate that name, is anybody's guess at this point. But I would think the character is going to have some appropriate amount of knowledge of politics and society, even though it's not Seattle-based. So hopefully you're not always asking, what's that? How's that work? Who's that person? If you understand the power structures, names are interchangeable at that point. They're just the people you have to take out, step over, and squash down. Thing is, I don't see how fire is actually going to do that in this game. That would have to be a completely different playthrough than the other classes, which should have their own playthroughs as well, in my opinion. If your clan's primary traits are manipulation and domination of people, then we have to do an awful lot of that. Otherwise, we're not going to feel very Ventrue. The combat portion of this article does nothing to gin up the old hype machine. From this section, you have to run around eating low-level dudes to gas up your fortitude so that you can withstand the pounding of a boss fight and still win. It does feel very rinse and repeat. Get powered up, go do a few dominates, run away, get powered up, go do some dominates, and then you eventually wear down the big enemies. As for sound, apparently lots of clanging steel and metal. That will convey dominance. Or you got trapped in a junkyard. As far as what these guys look like, they mention the haunting presence of Hannibal Lecter. I suspect they mean the TV show and not Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins was really good and all, but not sure he was terribly haunting. Certainly not in prison garb. The jewelry, well, it's okay. It's not gaudy. It's not ostentatious. That ring they show, however, looks like a mood ring from the 70s. As for the look, well, this is problematic. They say they're going for ancient nobility merged with modern high fashion. I say they're smoking crack. Check out the 4 images that they give us. Really not sure what they're going for on number 1 with those pants, and the only way those boots work are if that's a female character. Besides, who puts stiletto heels on a boot? But number 2 might be my favorite horrid one. High water pants, no socks, and ankle boots. That better not be a guy. Number 3 looks like one of the characters from Final Fantasy or Devil May Cry. That is not something you would wear in a boardroom. Maybe doing a Liberace impersonation. And number 4, this guy just looks like Paul from the original Deus Ex. I doubt number 3 or number 1 will ever see the light of day on any of my characters. The unfortunate thing in all of this information is none of it is particularly enticing. Certainly not to me. There's no cool hook like, say, the Benu Hakim. No nifty blood magic with the Tremere or some rebel Bruja. You were playing about as generic vampire as you possibly could. They had better have some fantastic dialogue to pull this off. But tell us what you think. Leave a comment below, and remember, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.